When I feel the time's a ways to go, so where you going for tomorrow? When I see that these are lies to come, would you even care? And I'm feeling, where you going for tomorrow? Where you going with that mask I found? And I feel when the dogs begin to smell her, where she's smelling low. Hi, this is Matt B for TotallyGuitars, and today we're talking about the song Plush by Stone Temple Pilots. There's a lot to talk about in this song. It's a fantastic tune, probably the first hit for Stone Temple Pilots, at least that I've heard back in the 90s, and also the song that put them most successfully on the map, being redone acoustically with just Dean DeLeo and Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots, and then again in their unplugged show with the entire band. Phenomenal song. As I said, a lot of aspects, many different types of chords, diminished some arpeggios of different chords, and then some inversions of some different chords, as well as some weird seventh chords in there, and a lot of stuff. Dean DeLeo originally played a lot of, well, maybe not originally, but in New York he was playing a lot of jazz before being called back by Robert DeLeo, his brother, to join Stone Temple Pilots and make this into a band which is totally modern rock, but uses many elements of jazz in it. And so we'll talk a lot about that. So let's get her going. So first, let's talk about the structure of the song. We have pretty much an introduction, we have a verse section, a bridge, a chorus, and maybe a chorus, a second chorus, and they all have different elements here. The first thing to talk about is the introduction. I'll play that for you just once through the progression. And that gets repeated alternately 4 and 8 times. And it's a great progression and very innovative. It goes through a number of different chords. We're using primarily the 1st through 4th strings of your guitar to do this. The verse of the song Plush is still in the key of G, with some modal interchange happening, which we'll talk about. Essentially, we move from a G5 to a D first inversion to an F, normal old root position F chord. Okay, so we've talked about the introduction to Plush by Stone Temple Pilots. We've talked about the verse section. The next section we come to is the bridge. The bridge is where we'll start incorporating some alternate picking, which is interesting because we're using a lot of really open ringing strings, but with a lot of distortion, which typically is not done so much, but it creates a really nice texture here. It goes like this. So now we're going to talk about the first chorus of this. It really never felt much like a chorus to me. It more felt like a second bridge, but it's all just nomenclature at this point. Terminology, heck with that, man. You can call it whatever you want. So that consists of only two chords going back and forth. They're both chords you've already played here, and they're both modal interchange chords in the key of G. Okay, so we've talked about most of this tune. We really have one more section to talk about, which would be, to me, I call it either a second chorus or just an add-on. You know, like I said, you can call these sections anything you want. I call it great music. So, enough dorkiness. What we're going to do, this primarily uses power chords with one exception. I'm going to play through this chorus for you. With this, he really is a little bit inconsistent with the strum patterns. We're going to look at this as if we're playing it just like all the rest of the strum patterns we've been using. Now, when you listen to the song, you will probably question that. You'll say, that doesn't sound like that. Well, you're right. But again, it's an inconsistent strum, largely felt out and improvised as he's recording or playing the song live. So don't worry about getting the exact strum. That's something that I think you can feel after you get the strums that we're practicing here down cold. Then work on improvising it a little bit yourself. And as long as you keep it rhythmically accurate and have a lot of integrity, you can do almost anything you want. Okay, so now I'd like to talk a little bit about the concept of modal interchange. And some of you may know that in a scale of music, especially in a major scale, you can use the notes of that major scale to construct chords on each note of that major scale. We usually look at those chords as built-in thirds. So, if we look at the easiest scale to think of, which has no sharps and no flats, it's the C scale. The first chord that we can construct in thirds in a C scale would be like this. We look at a C note, skip D, but play C and E together, skip F, and then play G.